segueing into the threes, we already touched on Lance. Let's go to a guy who we really don't know whose future, what the future holds for him. And that's Courtney Lee. Well, I mean, a lot of the speculation has been and the wishes has been to part ways with Lee. Obviously, we're trying to get under the cap situation here. He was brought in and played well for us over the last 2 years. I thought he was good value for the contract that we signed him at. It's just not the right situation for Courtney Lee. I think he deserves to play for a contender, and I think the skill set that he brings is more valuable to a contending team to me than a rebuilding team. But I think the issue is, can we find a suitable trade scenario?
I guess to start, Courtney Lee, I think, is a good example of someone that they signed to a longer-term deal that I think most people are happy with the way it worked. It's not to say that he came here and he was this, all-star player every single year, but he came in and did exactly what you expected him to do. And even now, in terms of people talking about trades, I don't think people are talking about it because they're like, oh, we don't like Courtney Lee, we don't want him on the team. I think you framed it right, Casey. It's almost more, we want to find a better spot for him. It just doesn't maybe make sense. I think that 3-and-D label gets thrown around a lot. I think that's the market you're trying to generate for him. And you're hoping that that extra year past this year of, I think it's around $12 million, doesn't scare teams away, where you get a team maybe closer to the trade deadline if you do go into the season that has an injury. That's sort of why I wouldn't rush anything. People talk about, should we rush things with Noah? There is some value with Noah to leave the team before the season starts. It opens up a roster spot. It allows him to spend a full season with a new team. Where with Lee, I don't really see the value in rushing anything because you don't know what's going to happen. You could be one of these contending teams and you lose a wing, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, we need to figure out how to make this work. We'll get a third team involved, whatever, to get the Knicks an asset or to get that year off the extra year off the salary cap. So I would just wait. And like I said, I'm just happy that he just seems like a good example. We talk a lot about the bad contracts, like with Noah.
Yeah.
I think Lee's a good example of one that's kind of worked out the way, we would have hoped.
He's a good one. And I was on Twitter, man. You know the guy, Jesus Rodriguez? He's kind of like a Courtney Lee whisperer. Yeah, so I've been following him for the updates, man. I haven't received any updates. I don't know if he's a real guy or if that's Courtney Lee's burner account, man. I haven't confirmed. Is he a legitimate dude?
I think he's a real guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, Macri, what's your take on the Courtney Lee situation?
I'm gonna probably wind up having egg on my face because I have sworn up and down since last season's trade deadline that he would be gone by start camp this year. To anyone who would listen, I was like, there is no chance Courtney Lee is going to be on the team. They will find another home for him because, like JB was saying, is Courtney Lee's contract a good contract? No, it's not a good contract, but it's exactly. It's there. There isn't a team. Well, okay, maybe Golden State, maybe Houston, maybe Boston, maybe Toronto. There aren't many teams in the league that, even in the playoffs, Courtney Lee couldn't provide 20 to 25 valuable minutes a night in which, you know what, he's going to be the fifth best guy on the floor for you, but he's not going to be a guy that is going to kill you on either end. Just in the NBA, the way it's played today, the value of having a guy who can, again, he's not a great defender, but who can credibly defend any wing that you throw him on, and obviously can make an open three-pointer, that has real value. And there aren't that many of those guys out there, and there are even fewer of those guys out there who are available. So I've been thinking all along that there was going to be a team who would say, you know what, screw the $12 million in 2019-20. Let's get the guy because he's going to help us win games this year. And I'm of the belief that Perry might be holding out for the best deal. And if that's the case, and I don't know if it is, maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe nobody wants him and they're just scared off of the $12 million a year from now. But I'm okay with that if he's holding out for a better deal, because this organization, if it's the one common thread they've had for years and years and years, it's giving away assets when they're at their lowest value, as opposed to when you could get the most for them. And if that means I'm going to be wrong and they have to carry Courtney Lee into the season, like JB is suggesting they do, then I'll be wrong. I just didn't think that was going to need to be the case for a team to break down and give Perry the type of deal that he wants for Lee. But, we've come this far, so maybe it is.
Yeah, let's see. And, stranger things have happened. We'll see how training camp and the preseason plays out, depending on what happens. Guys get cut. Guys, unfortunately, get injured. That might raise his trade value a little bit. So I guess, it would behoove Perry and those guys is to stay patient. Obviously, he's a captain of this team. If they don't find a buyer, there's other ways he can help us. So, Jay Ellis, what's your take on it before we get into Knox?
I mean, my take is this, man. He has value on his team, and he has value in the NBA in general. So I'm kind of with Macri, where I felt like I thought there was no way he's going to come into the season with the Knicks, just because he has value. He's not a scrub, and also to the Noah point before, where we have to get rid of people, cut the roster down before a certain point. I thought since the guy has value, and we have a glut at that wing position, we have other people over here like Dotson who needs the minutes. Yeah, I thought it would just be a done deal. So maybe it is that we're just waiting for the deal. Hopefully that's what it is. But I love what Lee did last season, and I'm hoping he goes somewhere nice where he can show his stuff off. Man, I appreciate what he did for us.
For 40 games, I thought he was. I mean, KP obviously had that 3-week stretch. But I'd say through the first half of the season, I think Lee was their most consistent player.
Definitely.
And that's then when Tim Hardaway went down,
and then I think around January, Lee stopped giving a shit.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, he quit.
I hate to say the word quit, but I do not think he was maybe giving it his all.
Right, and rightfully so. He's got to maintain his longevity and his future
that's
as
fair.
well. So that's Courtney Lee, and then we got number 20. He took H2O's number. Kevin Knox, the rookie sensation.
Yeah.
The one that's gonna put the butts in the seats until KP comes back.
Yep.
I'm excited about this kid, man. Me and Jay Ellis was at the draft. We heard all, the controversy. We didn't know if it was gonna be Mikal Bridges, and we had the Michael Porter drama and all of that, but Knox, he's impressed me from the summer league performance to even the off the field, just microphone skills.
Crow.
He's a pro's pro at 18 years old. You just see the poise in him. His father was interviewed by the Tampa papers, talking about they built him up for the big stage at a very young age, and for him to cut through Kentucky at the big stage. There's no doubt that he's going to show up at the Garden, man. He's going to play really well. Jay Ellis, give me your take on Knox.
And first of all, I would just like to apologize to Kevin Knox for doubting him. That's all I have to say.
I don't know. It wasn't a doubt per se. I just think at the time, I think it was mixed. I think the Knox hype came up a bit later on during the draft week. But I think a lot of people were on the Mikal bandwagon.
I was one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, I was on the Miles, but anyway. Yeah, I liked. I was on a whole other wagon. Anyway.
You're on a bridge. It's a different bridge.
Facts.
I like that. But yeah, I liked what he's shown so far, at least in the summer league, and hopefully it continues into the NBA where I can continue giving some praises. I didn't think he was going to be that aggressive. And he was. I didn't know he was going to be that locked in, and he was. He showed me something different. He showed me something different that wasn't on the scouting report from his days in college. So I like having Knox here. I like the fact that we have the staff like Fizdale and others who we signed who can actually bring up these young guys and take it to the next level. And I'm excited to see what he can do the full year with the New York City lights on him, man. I'm excited to see it.
Facts, man. JB, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, obviously from Summer League, we got a glimpse of how they might want to use him differently than in college. And that's what's always so tough. Like, you know, I'm always looking to others to get insight on these guys because I just don't have time to watch college.
Yeah, I just truly start watching that March Madness, man. Between football,
and that's it, right?
Between NFL and NBA, like, I just don't have time.
No, right, and it gets tricky though, because while you can look for skills that translate, they might be playing a different position, they might be asked to do different things. So then they get to the pros and you're like, well, how did we not see this? Right. Well, it's like maybe they weren't put in that position. I think that's what we saw a glimpse of with Knox in summer league. So, and I think that will continue because again, especially without KP, it's like, well, offense has to come from somewhere. So I think they're not going to be shy about giving him the ball in a similar way.
Even pushing the ball up the court, man. I was impressed. You know, granted, it's against summer league competition. But, you know, that first game, he was up against, you know, Trae Young's going to be in the league. Dorsey's going to be up in the league. And Knox was fearless out there, man. Macri, what was...
Can hit on a draft pick in, like, the late lottery, and it could almost change the direction of your franchise single-handedly. Mm-hmm. And I'm not to say that, you know, Knox is going to be, like, an all-NBA caliber player, but based on maybe what they were expecting from that spot, he's at least opened the door to the possibility that his being here can really change things for this franchise. You know, not as much as KP did, because KP, you know, I think is an MVP caliber player, but almost as much. The one thing I would just caution anybody watching the team this year, he's not going to be good right away. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
he you know, he'll score points, and he'll have some exciting moments, and he'll get playing time. But he is, you know, he's gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
He is raw.
Defensively, we got to see what he's gonna be defensively too when he's going up against some of those dogs.
And it's gonna be tough for him. Anybody expecting to see, you know, a 2018 version of Jason Tatum on the Celtics last year? I mean, you couldn't have picked a better situation for a rookie to come into than Tatum was in last year. And Knox isn't Tatum. He's not as polished as Tatum.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to be disappointed if he has a rough stretch, because he's going to have rough stretches. I think that's, but in terms of the talent, I mean, it's undeniable.
Yeah. To expand on that too, like even in the summer league, he did have turnover problems. He did have defense problems, and his shooting percentage wasn't
it was
good. Right, it was shaky, but he's a rookie. He saw the promise. He saw the skill set, and we're hoping that can grow in the Knicks organization. But we got to give him time and not jump him in the first bad game like we traditionally do.
Yeah, gonna take some time, but you know, obviously with KP out, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing, you know, through the ups and the downs, man. Definitely looking forward to seeing Knox for sure. So my people at home watching in the chat, what do you guys think about the Knicks small forward positions? Kevin Knox, Courtney Lee. What does the future hold for Courtney Lee? Even Lance Thomas. A lot of you guys made your comments knowing about Lance. So what do you guys think about the threes? Let's go into the chat. Alex Collins was quoting Macri on Knox, saying he ain't no Lance Thomas. Michael Parker with the $20 super chat. Salute to Michael Parker for the donation. He was the first person. I give him credit. Michael Parker was the first person in here, so shout out Michael Parker. Appreciate the donation. Definitely.
Be like Mike.
Be like Mike. Be like Mike. Kareem Maloney says he agrees with Macri on Knox. Slick Nick says Knox first team all rookie. Yeah,
sure.
I definitely.
I think that's possible. That. I love I think it's 10-1 odds on him for rookie of the year. That's
if I'm a betting man, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely take that. You know, Cody Manuel says free Courtney Lee. That sounds
free Courtney Lee.
Trade Lee. Trade Lee. Who else? Robert Parris, always in here. What's good, Robert? He says love Knox. He won me over before the draft. As good as I expect him to be. Robinson is the key.